Yeah, yikes. That's all I got to say. CaitlinClarkFans showing no mercy whatsoever, right? Fans are going to feel the way they want to feel, and that's what they deserve to feel. Right? Sports fans are vocal. Sports fans are loud. And I swear to God, there is a fraction, I guess it's the old WNBA fans, that are completely clueless on actual sports.
The Indiana Fever have officially finalized their 2026 roster, and many fans are questioning the team's latest decision. During the preseason, concerns were raised about floor spacing and frontcourt depth, but the final roster spot ultimately went to another guard. At the same time, Justine Pat, a 6'4" sharpshooter known for her length and shooting ability, was reportedly moved to a development contract while recovering from an injury. Some fans believed she could have been a valuable fit for the team. Now, debate continues over whether these roster moves will help the Fever compete at the highest level. What are your thoughts on the team's direction this season?
In which the Indiana Fever, preseason or not, got absolutely crushed by what we believe is going to be one of the worst teams in the league. But I got to tell you, when it was starters versus starters, it didn't turn out so well. It did not turn out so well. And many fans today are screaming from the top of the mountain what they've been saying since the draft. We got absolutely destroyed on the boards last night. Destroyed.
3 preseason games highlighted a major concern for the Indiana Fever. Opposing teams quickly noticed the same weakness and continued attacking it throughout each matchup. Teams like the New York Liberty, Dallas Wings, and the Nigerian national team focused on protecting the paint while leaving Indiana's forwards open on the perimeter. This strategy forced the Fever to rely on outside shooting from players who are not typically known for three-point scoring. Players such as Aaliyah Boston, Maisha Hines-Allen, Monique Billings, Michaela Timpson, and Dawana Bonner are more traditional frontcourt players, so defenders often stayed inside rather than pressuring them on the perimeter. As a result, Indiana struggled at times to create consistent floor spacing against those defenses.
You have to have somebody at that 4 and 5 that is stretching the floor. All right, that's why I say all that. You have to have somebody at that 4 and 5 to stretch that floor, because the WNBA is literally turning into the NBA. It literally is, man. It's just too much talent to have bigs on the floor together that can't shoot. It's too much talent for that. The defense can just clog that paint, as we saw last night, as we saw last year. You know, it's going to continue to happen.
3 preseason games highlighted a major concern for the Indiana Fever. Opposing teams quickly noticed the same weakness and continued attacking it throughout each matchup. Teams like the New York Liberty, Dallas Wings, and the Nigerian national team focused on protecting the paint while leaving Indiana's forwards open on the perimeter. This strategy forced the Fever to rely on outside shooting from players who are not typically known for three-point scoring. Players such as Aaliyah Boston, Maisha Hines-Allen, Monique Billings, Michaela Timpson, and Dawana Bonner are more traditional frontcourt players, so defenders often stayed inside rather than pressuring them on the perimeter. As a result, Indiana struggled at times to create consistent floor spacing against those defenses.
Tall enough to go up against some of these better teams. The answer that I see, and I've been saying this all offseason, we need more. We need more size. We need an adequate backup to AB. We need a starting caliber power forward. And the Indiana Fever and the Indiana Fever media, they're running cover for this Justine Passat injury. Justine Passat comes out and says, don't believe everything the media says.
The game against Nigeria did show a different side of Indiana's offense. Dyrus Dantes knocked down multiple three-pointers, and once defenders started respecting her outside shot, the floor opened up significantly. Driving lanes became much easier to create compared to the previous games. That performance highlighted how important perimeter shooting can be for the Fever's offensive system. It also showed that spacing is not only about play design, but also about having the right mix of players on the floor. Right now, some analysts and fans believe Indiana still lacks a consistent three-point shooting forward on a guaranteed contract, which could remain an important storyline throughout the season.
Our opening night roster is set. This just dropped. Kelsey Mitchell, Hines Allen, Raven Johnson, Aaliyah Boston, Sophie Cunningham, Lexi Hull, Demarius Dantas, Justine Passat, Michaela Timpson, Caitlin Clark, Monique Billings, Shatori Walker-Kimbrough, and Ty Harris. That is your opening night 2026 roster. Right there. Championship season. With the length on this team, we shall see.
Indiana currently has 7 guards on a 12-player roster, while concerns about frontcourt spacing remain a major talking point after the preseason. Many fans expected the team to address that issue before finalizing the roster, but the concern still appears unresolved heading into the season.
I think mostly on dead balls, like I'm the best. I think I'm the best transition player in the league. That's where I thrive. Everybody knows that's my game. So, getting the ball off of rebound or in transition, like that's probably when I'm going to be the primary ball handler more than anything. And then,
Coach Stephanie White has spoken about wanting Caitlin Clark to spend more time playing off the ball, including occasional minutes in a small forward role. The idea is to involve Clark later in offensive possessions rather than having her initiate every play herself. While the strategy could add variety to the offense, some analysts believe it may reduce one of Clark's biggest strengths, her ability to push the pace in transition and create opportunities before defenses are fully set. Her game is often most effective when she has the ball early and can attack quickly in space. Clark has also expressed confidence in her transition play, saying she believes it is one of the strongest parts of her game. That discussion has become another major topic surrounding Indiana's offensive approach heading into the season.
I swear to God, if y'all keep Demarius Dantas and cut Justine Passat, y'all are so damn incompetent. Woo! Fire the Fever front office and Stephanie White. It is going down. That was painful to watch. I hope Cece was not re-injured. And you want to sell tickets? Nobody wants to watch Stephanie White's show.
Caitlin Clark has acknowledged the value of playing off the ball, even comparing the concept to how the Golden State Warriors use Stephen Curry to create constant movement and pressure on defenses. However, the key difference is that Clark appears to view it as an additional weapon rather than the main foundation of the offense. Off-ball movement can be effective because Clark's shooting ability forces defenders to stay attached to her around screens and cuts. But for that system to fully work, the rest of the lineup also needs to create spacing and offensive threats. Some analysts believe Indiana still lacks enough front-court shooting to consistently support that style, which could make it harder for the offense to operate smoothly throughout the season.
I don't think people understand. 6'4" snipers don't grow on trees.
Some analysts believe the Indiana Fever are still trying to balance different offensive approaches. Caitlin Clark thrives in fast-paced transition play, while Coach Stephanie White appears interested in using more structured half-court actions. At the same time, the current roster construction has raised questions among fans. With several guards competing for similar on-ball roles, some observers feel the lineup could become crowded at times, especially if floor spacing remains inconsistent. Much of the fan discussion centers on Indiana's final roster decision. Critics argue the team added another smaller guard instead of prioritizing a taller perimeter shooter who may have addressed spacing concerns more directly. As a result, debate continues about whether the roster is fully optimized for the team's offensive system heading into the season.
Justine Passat is huge. If you've been looking at any of the drills, Justine Passat is huge.
Pat was selected 25th overall in the draft largely because of her strong perimeter shooting and size combination. At Vanderbilt University, she shot over 42% from three-point range on high volume, making her one of the top outside shooting forwards in women's college basketball that season. Scouts also praised her shooting mechanics and versatility. With her length and defensive mobility, She showed the ability to guard multiple positions while still providing perimeter spacing on offense. Rather than simply standing in the corner, she consistently moved without the ball and created problems for opposing defenses. Many fans believe that type of frontcourt shooting could help open the floor for players like Aaliyah Boston in the post and create more driving lanes for Caitlin Clark. That's why her development contract has become such a major discussion point among Fever supporters.
I feel like the Indiana Fever are lying about Justine Passat's leg injury. I feel like they are hiding her because they don't want to commit to giving her a full contract to be on the 12-player roster. They want her to be on that developmental contract. And I think that they know, after that game 1 versus New York, they know that if this girl continues to log minutes in these games, somebody is going to covet her. Somebody is going to snatch her off of.
If you've been watching the team during practices and drills, the spacing concerns have been noticeable at times, especially when defenses pack the paint and force Indiana to rely more on perimeter shooting.
I feel like they're lying about this injury because they're hiding her. I just got to keep it real. I got to keep it real. And let's take a look at what Justine Passat also had to say. She said, let's not always believe the media, with the puzzle face. Now, I don't know necessarily what she means by this, but she could be saying, hey, we can't believe what the Fever are putting out there in the media. I'm fine. I can play. She came out and let us know. I don't care about no developmental contract.
During the preseason matchup against the New York Liberty, Pat made an immediate impact in limited minutes, scoring efficiently and knocking down outside shots against a strong defensive lineup. Her ability to stretch the floor stood out, and Aaliyah Boston later mentioned how much easier the offense becomes when opposing defenses must respect a shooting big on the perimeter. Despite that performance, Indiana placed Pat on a development contract while using the final roster spot on another guard. That decision sparked debate among fans, many of whom believe the team still needs more frontcourt shooting and spacing rather than additional backcourt depth. Some supporters feel the move was more about roster preference and experience, while others argue Pat's skill set may have addressed one of the team's biggest preseason concerns.
What is going on? Really? Ticket sales plummeted since she came to Indiana. The fans have spoken. They don't like the lies from the front office or the questionable figures like Stephanie. Boy, got to be more careful. I mean it. Yeah. I got to tell you.
Pat has reportedly been dealing with an injury, but the details surrounding her status have remained somewhat unclear. That uncertainty led to growing speculation among fans, especially after Pat encouraged people on social media not to believe every report circulating online. The situation has added even more attention to Indiana's roster decisions. Supporters continue questioning why a player viewed by many as a strong fit for the team's spacing needs was placed on a development contract, while other roster spots went elsewhere. Some fans also believe that if Pat were ever released, her shooting ability and versatility would likely attract interest from other teams very quickly.
Some could say that Stephanie White's playing defense on her own player. God. White is not a coach. I would put that there. They run an outdated plays and it shows. They will not play Clark in the position that she was made for. Off ball again in what World Cup CC? Nowhere to get away from boring basketball.
If you look past the frustration surrounding the roster decisions, Indiana still has a strong core heading into the season. Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston give the Fever one of the most promising young duos in the league. Kelsey Mitchell remains a dangerous scorer who can create her own shot, while Lexi Hull provides defense, energy, and off-ball movement. Sophie Cunningham also adds shooting and physicality off the bench, giving Indiana solid perimeter depth. Another bright spot was Raven Johnson, who impressed during the Nigeria game with her defensive activity and playmaking. Her ability to force turnovers and push the pace fits well alongside Clark's transition style. While questions about spacing and roster balance continue, many fans still believe the Fever have the talent to build a very competitive team this season.
I tell you, a fan base is fully alert and awake. Fully alert and awake. They are seeing what's going on. Fans are smart. They are not dumb. They deserve to feel how they want to feel. Plain and simple.
Indiana's preseason win over the New York Liberty showed the team's potential when everything is working together. Even without Aaliyah Boston and Lexi Hull in the lineup, the Fever played with energy, forced turnovers, and converted defense into fast break points. Kelsey Mitchell and Walker Kimbrough helped lead the offense, while Indiana's transition game created constant pressure. That performance gave fans a glimpse of how dangerous the team can be when playing at a fast pace. Many analysts believe the issue is not a lack of talent, but rather how the roster pieces fit together. The current setup sometimes limits spacing around Boston in the post and can make it harder for Caitlin Clark to attack and transition with open driving lanes. Because of that, the ongoing conversation around Indiana continues to focus more on roster balance and offensive structure than on the individual players themselves. When a forward can consistently shoot from the perimeter, defenses are forced to guard the outside more closely. That creates extra space for Aaliyah Boston in the post, opens driving lanes for Caitlin Clark, and gives Indiana's guards cleaner catch-and-shoot opportunities. Many analysts believe that kind of floor spacing could solve several of the team's offensive concerns at once. The discussion is not necessarily about changing the entire system, but about having the right personnel to make it function more effectively. There's also growing belief that coach Stephanie White's off-ball concepts and Clark's transition-heavy style can work together. However, for both approaches to succeed consistently, the lineup needs enough spacing to support them at the same time. Without that balance, the offense can sometimes feel crowded instead of flowing naturally. Many fans believe Caitlin Clark has the talent and supporting cast to enter the MVP conversation in 2026. Her playmaking, scoring ability, and popularity already make her one of the league's biggest stars. However, offensive efficiency will likely play a major role in how far Indiana can go this season. A major topic throughout the preseason has been floor spacing, especially at the forward position. Some analysts believe adding a reliable stretch forward could help unlock more space for Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and the rest of the offense. At the same time, Pat's future with the organization remains a talking point. Her shooting ability and versatility have reportedly attracted attention from fans and observers around the league, with some believing other teams could show interest if given the opportunity. Despite the debate surrounding roster construction, expectations for the Fever remain high heading into the season. Do you think Indiana has the right pieces to compete for a championship? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates.